a brand new episode of the Uncovering Greatness podcast. I am your host, Sulaiman Steele, as per usual. Good to be back on the podcast, good to be recording again. Today I am joined by Barry Mitchell, who is in the country. Today we're talking sales. We're going to talk some sales techniques, some sales tips, and all good things that come with sales. Barry, how are you? How are you doing?
Yeah, good to be with you, Sully. Good to be with you guys. Nice to be on the Uncovering Greatness podcast again. And yeah, good to be in South Africa this week. Sales. Probably one of my favorite topics. Something that I've been doing for 30 years. Something that I believe is a critical skill in both business and in life. And something, Sully, that you've been around me for a long time. You've been at lots of sales explosions, teaching sales, but you've hidden away in the world of marketing. and I say that the reason I say that, but I was listening to something this morning, and a guy called Vern Harnish was talking and saying a key component of your business is your marketing strategy, and then he went on to say marketing, how you're going to sell, and that brought me to thinking is, sales. It rather than marketing, it's actually sales, and I operate from this school of thought that marketing is a tool for sales. Sales is not a tool for marketing, and that may be controversial for some people. I don't really care. but having been in sales for 30 years, sales, if you can sell, you can make money. If you can market, you can find customers. When you get the two things working together, that's when you can really increase your income. But you've got to be able to, the simplest form of marketing is going out and knocking on doors, picking up the phone. And so many people are getting lost because they are so focused on marketing, and then they're not closing any deals. They have these wonderful campaigns that don't make any money. And that's why I say that, is that, your responsibility at Uncovering Greatness is marketing, social media, marketing, finding customers, generating leads. But in the last couple of weeks, you have been playing a different game because you were thrown into the world of sales.
Yeah.
So, what did you experience? Because yesterday in our meeting, you said, one of the hardest 3 weeks I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, it felt like 3 months, to be honest.
He sits and goes, in the last 3 months. Nicole and I are like, what friggin' 3 months? It hasn't even been a month since we decided to pull the trigger on the particular project that we've been working on, and he's been involved in sales, not just in marketing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, in all honesty, my experience has been, we started off at the Ultimate Greatness Experience, the 5-day event that we do. And it was one of those situations where I think I've always, especially when it comes to sales, as you said, being in sales explosions, having done usually like the first one that she did, make calls. But when it's just like
sort of,
it's like okay, let me make a call and speak to somebody for 5-10 minutes, hear their story, go through that whole thing, and then
so that I can justify I did my job.
It wasn't my fault. They spoke to me for 10 minutes. Whereas this one was super different. Where I was like, look, I've got to make these calls, and I want to be. It was something I've never done before in the sense of set a target for the day. Right, so for the day, I was like, I want to do, I think it was the first day, I think I wanted to do 20 calls. Now, all of this is happening within breaks, within learnings, within studying with your team, within having to eat. And I think that was a really big realization for me, because that's life, right? There isn't a set time where you can sit down and make calls. The world doesn't work that way. Because life keeps happening, things keep going, and you have got to make it important. And I think that was a big difference this time. I made making calls really important and making the sales really important.
Well, most people get busy.
Yeah.
And then calls become something that they're going to do if they have time. Yes, it's a priority, but they don't prioritize it.
Yeah.
And in sales, if you want to sell, calls have got to be priority.
100%.
They've got to be either phone calls and or physical knock-on-door calls.
Yeah.
Appointments, getting in front of customers. Those are critical. Good. So you found out that you had to prioritize, and you started making some phone calls, and you were selling into our big cash flow game that we're having on the 25th, where our goal is to have over 300 people playing the cash flow game all at the same time, 50 to 60 tables. And at the outset, you were all pumped up and all excited.
Oh, yeah.
People were going to buy into it, and you came out of the blocks firing. You and Michaela had 40 tables bought within the first week and a half.
Yeah.
And we were talking getting over 50, and you guys were like, "That's it. We're gonna smash this."
Yep.
And in the next 3 weeks, what happened?
Man, so the next 3 weeks just literally became, I think for me, honestly, it became the challenge of finding the little voice to make calls, because I wasn't in that sort of controlled, safe environment of the 5-day anymore.
Yeah.
Now I was on my own. And not on my own, but now I was back to reality, back to life, back to having to, exactly like you said, prioritize the calls or sit down and edit videos.
And to sit down and edit videos is easy for you, so so that's where you go, and that's a great point, because that's where most people get stuck.
Yeah.
I need to do emails, I need to send this proposal, I need to design this ad, I need to do whatever busyness needs to be done, and then they avoid making the calls, making the things that they need to do, because that little voice just gets on top.
Yeah.
So you had to fight your little voice.
I had to fight my little voice one, and I had to fight people.
Well, let's talk about your little voice first before we talk about fighting people, because you also had a teammate who called you on your BS.
She did.
And she said, pick up the phone and
pick up your freaking energy.
Yeah.
I think the words simply were, your energy is in the toilet. And I was like, yeah.
So why was your energy in the toilet?
I think on that day specifically, it was, I had made about 10 calls to people who were in, because now we had released, because we were doing tables, and now we had released individual tickets. And I was like, shit. I have a list of people who had told me that if there was individual tickets, they would buy. All 10 said no.
And they guaranteed you.
They guaranteed
Surely if you have individual,
I am there. I'm there. Don't you?
And how many times have you heard Barry say in events, people lie, and you sat there thinking, not these people.
No, these are good people.
Well, they are good people.
Yeah.
See his little voice?
They did bad.
They're not bad people. They just didn't do what you wanted them to do, which was to buy. And all 10 of them that you had staked. That's 2 tables. That's two. You had staked 2 tables of doing these. They all said no. And your energy went into the friggin' toilet, and you didn't want to make any more phone calls. You loser. You were. In that moment, you were a loser.
I was. Honestly, I was a sore loser in that moment. I was like, what just happened? Like, you on the list who said that you wanted an individual ticket.
None of you guys can connect with this. Yeah, because that's what happens is you create this expectation. And yes, is it good to have an expectation? Yes. But you also have to set yourself up for success in reality. And you have to expect and set yourself up for the no, because, just because you want people to buy now doesn't mean they're going to buy. They'll buy when they're ready to buy. They'll buy when the time is right. And it's very simple. People lie. And when I say they lie, they don't mean to lie. But they're going to tell you something that's the easiest thing for you to hear. And they do intend, no, it sounds good, until the cracks come, and then, it doesn't sound that good. And you now bank all your stuff on those 10 people, and they all say naught. And then your energy goes in the toilet. But it took one of your teammates to say, hey, suck it up. Pick up the phone. Get your energy up. Let's keep going. Yes?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that was a massive shift for me, because it was a moment of, yes, obviously when she said it, I was like, Yeah, gave her the Joburg. Wanted to give her the Joburg salute, but the fact of the matter is, she was actually right. And I could actually feel it. Like I could feel myself just slumping down into my chair. I had my phone in my hand, and I was like, if I dial this again, it was like you always explained from what's that movie? What's his name? Groot in Despicable Me.
Yes, when he's looking at that phone,
Yeah.
the phone starts turning into a monster. And is that what happened to your phone?
100%.
Started to look at this thing like I know.
Yeah.
And one little voice is saying, "Pick up the phone, dude. Pick up the phone, dude."
Yeah.
And the other one's little saying, "No, well, what happened to this?" Well, the question is, in that moment, who won? That little voice that was saying, "No, no, no."
Yeah.
Until one of your teammates, his little voice, Michaela, comes in and goes,
100%.
"Hey, suck it up." And now you have her speaking, and you have these little voices. Then you have an added little voice that's going, "Who the heck are you? Who are you? Friggin' heck!" And yeah, part of it you want to tell her to shut up.
She made calls.
This whole fight going on.
Battle. It's a crazy battle.
And that brings into mind is that's that saying that we have: who's going to win?
Yeah.
The winner or the loser. In that moment, there was that discussion you were having with yourself.
Yeah.
And you had to close yourself on one of them. You're either going to pick up the phone and make the next phone call, or you were going to sell yourself on why you weren't going to pick up the phone, and you were going to sell Michaela on the reason why. Oh well, I've got to do I don't know, the stuff that you do for marketing and design your ads and do all that other stuff. That yes, does it need to be done in our business? Of course it does. But in that moment, you had an obligation that you were going to close. So which sale were you going to close? Were you going to close yourself on being a loser and not being able to make your phone calls, or were you going to close yourself on suck it up, make another phone call, pull the trigger, frigging get it done, and phone the list? And we're faced with that every single day, aren't we?
Yeah, very true. Like, and I think that's exactly what it was. Was that, and it's weird because it's not even like it's a. And I believe that it's like this for most people. It's like what Barry's saying. It's not a conscious thing, right? You're not sitting there going, "I'm listening to these little voices." It's actually just unconsciously happening.
Yeah, because you unconsciously, subconsciously are selling yourself on one that you want to sell yourself on.
100%.
So that's where the sale has got to become conscious.
Yeah.
The more aware you are of where you're sitting and where you're sabotaging yourself, the more in control you can be.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine you actually learned to have the discussion Michaela had with you?
Oh yeah.
And you're actually saying to yourself, "Dude, suck it up. Get your energy up. Your energy sucks now." And those are the discussions that if you really want to shift your little voice, those are the discussions you've got to learn how to have with yourself. And then you have to weigh it up. You know, you're going to sit here and be a loser, whinge and whine about why these 10 people do, they're so bad. Or you're going to suck it up and go, "Well, those are the 10. I have another 20 on my list. Find those."
Yeah.
And that's the choice. But I think you make an important point. For most people, it's just this unconscious, subconscious decision, and then off you go, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, when you don't have the numbers, you'll justify why
We don't have the numbers.
why your business sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it was something that was also so important to have, and it's also something you speak about, is having the right people on your team. Michaela could have went the other way with it, because not to say that she wasn't struggling with those.
She was doing exactly the same. She was also struggling.
Exactly.
People had made promises to her and they weren't fulfilling them, and then the date and well maybe, and then we'll follow up. She was getting all the same
100%.
objections and same bullshit that you were getting.
Yeah.
Well, when I say bullshit, it was the bullshit in your mind and how you were taking it, and so she could have joined you. She could have gone into agreement with you. How often is that happening in teams? All two salespeople are
Standing by the coffee machine.
They both suck because they're really not doing what they should be doing. So they both suck. So guess what? Let's suck together and agree that the market's down and it's not our fault. And well, it doesn't change it. Your bank account still has naught in it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much you can justify, and you still
suck.
You still suck.
And it's not going to get better tomorrow. It's not going to get better the next day until you actually do what you got to do and confront it. And I think that was then the next thing is, cool, pick up the phone, call somebody. They said no, and I didn't get stuck on it this time. I just went, you know what, that is what it is, next.
Yeah, and you treat them with respect.
Yeah, 100%.
This is the other thing I see that happens is that people go down, so they pick up the phone, and then their emotions are up, so they actually get irritated with the person because they have this false expectation. Whereas now you go, hey, thanks so much, no problem, look forward to seeing you again, thank you, and it's not personal because you've got to understand those people are also in the place that they're in,
Yeah.
and they're going to give you the no. And it's not just about rolling over and dying. It's about asking them a question. You know, were you serious about coming? Are you still serious about coming? Da, da, da. And you go from there.
Yeah. And I think it's just really about, and I think that was also another massive lesson that I had, that it was actually also about connecting with people. It wasn't just about me trying to make the sale. It wasn't just about me going, picking up the phone, hey Barry, do you want to get this table? No, okay Barry, bye, done. I feel like what I would, if I did that, what I would then do is isolate those people from our actual world, from the huge, because that's not what we do.
How many times have you heard me say, Sully, I use these words, I don't care if you buy. Okay, now, I do care if you buy.
Yeah.
Okay, because my business relies on clients and I want you to buy. But my whole business is not staked on that particular person buying. Because the game is much bigger. I would rather keep the long-term relationship going than get... You know, one of my longest-standing clients told me the other day, Barry, I committed to coming to the cash flow game, and it wasn't my commitment to you, but I have another business commitment that's come up. I said, you have to go for your other business commitment. He's like, but I'm going to let you know. I said, you're not going to let me down. There's another 349 people that are going to be in that room. Yeah. And I got that. But you have to do... But whereas many people will get upset, you said you're coming, and when I see people do that, it becomes self-serving. It's what it is it's about me, and I want to make my money for my business. So you said you must come. Whereas when you're speaking to enough people will come.
Yeah.
If you're selling the right thing to the right people, enough people will come. But did you learn that you have to do the work?
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a game of, oh, I got such a great product. Look. Are we putting on a great event?
Yes.
We're putting on a cracker friggin' event.
Yes.
It's going to be, in our belief, probably one of the biggest cash flow games, if not the biggest cash flow game that we've played in South Africa.
Yeah.
There will be over 300 people playing it. There will be over 50 tables. It'll be a cracking event. Is there a lot of learning for people? 100%. But the reality is this, is that we're looking for people that are looking to come on the 25th.
Yeah.
Not people that would like to come, but you know what, it's Granny's birthday, or people that would like to come, but they have another business arrangement, or people that would like to come, but they're already committed. Those are the people,
yeah.
You know? I mean, I was chatting to Gary this morning. Gary, our landlord Gary said to me, I'd love to come, and I actually wanted to bring the kids, but they're playing sport. I was like, okay, okay, I'm disappointed. I'd love to have him and his family there. But the reality is, I'm not going to get all upset and go, you know, well, you should come. Yeah. He can't. Next one, we'll see what happens. Because sales is all about time and timing. And you're getting that?
Yeah.
But you've got to put in the work.
Yeah.
You've got to make the calls.
If you don't, I remember, so from UGE, somebody was on my team was like, why don't we run a Facebook ad? And all of me, that would have been the natural inclination. It would have been the easy thing to do.
What's the easy way out?
Yeah, it would have been the easy thing to do. But at the same time, I was like, I have zero control over that. I cannot control. I love Facebook. I love marketing. I love what I do. But I've also learned the lack of control you actually have with running ads and putting out content and stuff like that. Versus, I have your phone number right here on my phone. And I pick it up and I call you and I get a hold of you directly. And I can speak to you and talk to you about the product that I'm selling
100%.
versus you having to watch a video or read some copy and then it's so easy for me to flip past it. Whereas if you're on the phone, yes, you can lie to me and say, yeah, I want to be there and so on. But you may not come to this one, exactly like you said. But you may come to the next one.
But you don't follow. You can use the video and all that sort of stuff and the copy to follow up and send it to them. But you're right, Sully. And you know, if people really get that in sales, and that's the hard part.
It is.
You make enough calls, you connect with enough people, you'll make the sales.
Yeah.
You know, most people are just not making enough calls. because of the things like you said today, because we make 10 phone calls, we have this expectation, and then it's tough. It's like, oh shit, I thought I was going to win more than this. Well, it is a win. You make 10 calls. Make another friggin' 10 calls. Suck it up. Get through that little voice. Tell that little voice to shut up. Get the awareness. Get the awareness around, I know what's going to self-sabotage me. You know, so, I mean, the next, between that afternoon and the next day, I gather you made 30, 40 phone calls.
Yeah, even I made phone calls on Saturday.
There we go.
I didn't stop because it was a Friday that I had that little blip.
Yeah.
I continued making calls when I was driving home. So I was in traffic. And that's also something that I've now learned is that I can either be in traffic and listen to the radio, which I do enjoy. There's interesting conversations, or I can make calls.
100%.
I have time. Why? Because I'm sitting in damn traffic. Like there's nowhere for me to go, and I'm not doing any. Yes, I shouldn't be on my phone, but I've got hands-free, so I can do all the things that I need to do
with technology. It's
100%. And these are the for me, it's been the big lessons. Like you said, I mean, I've been around you now for over 12 years almost, and it's taken time and timing. It's taken 12 years for you to sell me into this. Which is crazy.
You're not alone. I have people that are reading my book and go, well, I read your book 5 years ago, and we know now only applying it. That's okay.
Yeah.
But and I think you make a really good point. What would have happened? What would have happened if you had have applied this 10 years ago?
I mean, I think, in all honesty, when we started was with my mom's business.
Yeah.
Business would have still been in existence, to be very honest with you. If I applied what you were teaching me then, coupled with what you're teaching me now, it will still be running, it will be flourishing, my life would be completely and utterly different.
And you can't go back and go if, because that's what if.
Yeah.
But the reality is when we do look back, you go, the question I'm going to ask you now is, now you know how to do it, and now you're doing it. How are you going to do it going forward? And how much better can you become? Because you could be like many people. You now get this learning, and then you go back to your old ways, and you don't make phone calls. And in a year time, we're having the same discussion, and you go, I should have.
Nah, I think, in all honesty, for me, the reality now is that I can't actually do that. I mean, I can, but I don't want to do that. Because, one, I feel as though, from my perspective, the game has gotten bigger.
Yeah, well, as soon as you get through your little voice and you start, the bigger the game you want to play, the bigger the little voice you have to overcome.
Yeah.
So, if you can't overcome making another phone call after you've made 10, well, how are you going to overcome dramatically increasing your level of income? How are you going to overcome, as Uncovering Greatness grows and expands, how are you going to overcome bringing in a team in order to grow your marketing space so we can grow our brand?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do that.
No, and that's a great point, because I'm going to have to be contending with other people's little voices. I'm not getting bigger. I can't lead a team. I can't lead.
So what you're saying, you've realised that you're going to have to contend with other idiots like you, I have to, like I have to contend with you.
Yeah. So I'm not going to have to deal with what you deal with, and it's a terrifying thought, because I'm like, oh man, I'd have killed me a long time ago.
It's quite an empowering realization when you actually realise, oh shit, if I was me and I was you, I would have killed me. What an asshole. but that's the beauty of growth and
oh,
isn't it?
man. No, it is, and I mean it's something that you've been saying over the podcast, and something when we had a meeting yesterday as well. You said, and I agree. It's actually my honest belief is that's what these words are getting me through. This shit is tough.
It is tough, and you got to be tough.
Yeah.
You
got to be tough. You got to be tougher.
Everyone wants it to be easy. So
100%.
I mean, how often do you see it in the world?
Yeah.
I mean, what's happening next week? Next week in South Africa is voting day. Great. And what are people hoping? That it gets easier. Okay, well, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I don't know about you. I'm not relying on that. I'm not relying on those outcomes. I'm relying on the fact that I'm going to have to be in control of whatever I want to create.
Yeah.
Whatever happens will create circumstances that I'm going to have to navigate and negotiate. But my ability to navigate and negotiate those circumstances will depend on my ability to grow myself, and how much heat and pressure am I going to be able to withstand, and how tough I am in terms of the environment. And so you got it. You got to be tough, and it's damn tough.
Yeah.
Success is tough. Going to another level in your life is tough. It's damn friggin' hard.
And you know, the crazy thing is, it's like in all aspects of life. And we speak about on the podcast, and together we speak a lot about fitness. We speak about, and I mean, I've had to dig deep within myself to get back into working out regularly, to eating properly. That one's still a bit tricky for me, but I try and double it up with a bit more working out. And I think something that
Well, it's because your wife makes you a nice little lunchbox and shit in it.
But one thing I do love, because we both, like, you put me on to David Goggins, and he says something that sticks with me is every day try and be 5% better than yesterday. 5%.
So,
It's not. He's not saying be 100% better. So for me, I could then apply that to making calls. Okay, cool. So today I made 10 calls. Can I be 5? Can I make 12 calls tomorrow?
yeah.
Can I make 4? And it's crazy how you actually see those differences taking place when you do that.
Huge.
And also another thing, which is something that Nicole teaches, which you also teach, is the importance of reach. I've been speaking to people who haven't been in our world for 6 months to a year. I spoke to one guy who said to me, I was actually looking at the notes from Sales Explosion that I did 2 years ago, because I'm going into this deal, and what Barry taught me was so important that I was really looking at it to go and do and apply it to this deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I could have gotten stuck on, dude, I'm trying to sell you this table. She wasted my time, man. But it was, at a certain point, I stopped talking about the table, and I was like, come to Circle, actually. We haven't seen you in a long time. And he said he's going to come, and he didn't come, and I wasn't upset about that. Life happens, and
He'll
it's what
come.
it is. He'll
But
come
he'll
to
come.
me, he'll come.
But the deal is the door's now open for you to go back
100%.
and say, hey, I mean, you know, you can go back to him and say, hey, would you like to come to Circle? And when you come to Circle, I'll set up. Barry would like to interview you for 10 minutes on what did you use out of the training, and how did your deal go, and what have you learned since Sales Explosion?
Yeah.
But so you're right. Now there's a whole. The game is so much bigger than just I need to sell the product. Yes, the purpose is to sell my product. Yes, the purpose is to do that. I got that. But when you really get it that it's a long-term game. It's not a short-term game. And that's what people want, is it's a short-term gain, and they're not thinking about the long-term game.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that just, ties back to all successful businesses, big businesses that we see. They don't blame for the short term. Everything is long-term focused. And I mean, even you, for example, you're already thinking about the next cash flow game that we're doing. And yes, we have and like you said it yesterday, which is actually quite profound. Yeah, you're gonna do the 25th. It's gonna be a cracking event. You're gonna give it your all. But you're not sitting and waiting and going, okay, let me get the 25th. No, it's already cool. 25th is happening. It's sorted. Things are, it's happening. What's next? The next thing. And for me, that was like a massive realization, because I was like, yeah, that's the way the game is going to be played, right? The game is going to be played from long-term spaces. We can sit and go, oh, what are the
But you have to operate
now.
in the now.
So if you're not operating now,
So you can get stuck up there.
Yeah.
But you have to operate now. So that was my point yesterday. Is I still have work to do before the 25th in order to get that 25th. But I'm now starting to think what comes out of the 25th, where we go next. But then you have to operate. And
Yeah.
that's good job.
Thank you. Any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah. The distance between where you are and where you want to go is about 6 inches. And it sits between this ear and friggin' this ear. And what's in between And can you overcome that little voice? Can you get tougher? You know, it's how tough is how mentally tough are you? And the more you do these things, and the more you put yourself in the heat and pressure, the more mentally tough you get when it comes to business, when it comes to sales, and you tough it out, and the results will come. So yeah, other than that, really looking forward to the cash flow game on Saturday on the 25th. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to have a lot of people in there having a lot of fun, a lot of learning, I suppose from my side, very privileged that I teach the cash flow game and teach the wisdom that comes from Robert and Kim Kiyosaki, and very blessed to be able to do that and help people shift how they think about money and finances and really just stuff that school doesn't teach us. So I'm excited about that, and excited about helping people shift where they're at, build bigger, better, stronger, greater businesses. So that's it.
Definitely. I think for me, closing thoughts, it's just about being tougher. It's not easy. I think that's the thing. If it was easy, we'd all be billionaires. That's just the bottom line. The thing is, it's tough. Running a business, it's tough. Being in a business, it's tough. Understanding how a business actually works, you know, I'm speaking about this more from like an employee's perspective. Yeah, you get your salary at the end of the month.
Not even an employee's perspective, certainly a business owner's perspective. Many business owners don't really understand how a business operates.
For sure. And it's tough, but I think that if you, like Barry said, if you push through your little voices, you push through that, like everything in life, you get to where you want to get to when you push through. Yeah. If you don't, like, you said that you've been saying it a while now about the whole hobbies thing. So if you do your hobbies, right, and you push through, so let's just say your hobby is running, and you push through that last kilometer to go, and you push through it. It's the same for your business. That last kilometer is those 15 calls that you have left to make. And that push through, you don't know what's going to come from it. But I guarantee you, at least from what I've learned, is something is going to come from it.
Something will always come from the action that you take, always. And a lot of time it's stuff that you can't even see.
100%.
So, good man.
That is the Uncovering Greatness podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As you guys now know, hopefully the Uncovering Greatness podcast will only be available on YouTube and other podcast platforms. Facebook will be clips of this, but you guys can check out our YouTube channel, Uncovering Greatness. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll see you guys soon. Stay blessed, tough it out, and be awesome.
Be awesome. Ho!